Hi, my name is Lieutenant Commander Miller. I'm a Supply and Habitability Inspector with the Board of Inspection and Survey. I'm going to take you through some inspection discrepancies that we commonly find on Navy ships. Now this is an electrical junction box on a ship, and these are the typical things that we see. Exposed electrical wiring, splice wiring. You can see the black and white wire coming back from the insulation. You can see that the wire is live. A voltage detector like this will detect electrical current. This allows anyone the possibility to get shocked. Now this is a steam table, and the underside is the thermostat right here. This is how it should look. You've got BX connectors that are secured in place, and the conduit is clearly intact, allowing no exposed wiring. As you can see, the power wire is coming from the back of the cold food counter and laying on the deck. That wire should be tacked up with wire ties to the bulkhead as it transits through the passage here to the actual connection. This is a perfect example of a great cold food counter bar. Filled in the top, the compressor's running, all the shelves are in place. Inspecting a multi-tank dishwasher, one of the first safety features that we look for is these doors. These doors have a magnetic sensor on the bottom so that when you pick the door up, it shuts the machine off to prevent the operator from getting splashed with water at temperatures at 180 degrees or above. Here's a picture of a typical equipment protective device. This is a float valve that shuts the machine off when the water in the tank drops below that level of that valve. Ah, there's the curtains. No curtains? Curtains. And a lot of times if it's missing those curtains, it loses the temperature. Right. So they won't be able to reach the 180 degrees. Right here, these two motors are not covered. They're missing a stainless steel panel that attaches here and covers that entire area. If you look inside here, you can see the chain is exposed. It should have a cover on it. That protects personnel from putting their hands in there and getting their fingers crushed. When you're inspecting your multi-tank dishwasher, take a look at this junction box underneath the motor for the drive chain. A lot of times I find these connectors are rusted out and hanging off and have lacked the watertight integrity.
Improperly insulated, exposed wiring.
Yeah, there's no watertight integrity in this junction. See, when you're in the galley, you're looking for leaks. And you're also, a telltale sign is that there's a bucket underneath the sink or there's duct tape around the piping. Here's a large garbage grinder and a scullery, and it's missing the rubber safety boot that goes around this cutoff switch. So as this machine runs, the water's running right down onto the motor underneath it. As you can see here, the SOPV has improperly insulated wiring. The electrical conduit has lacks watertight integrity and can allow water intrusion to this electrical box. That's a Pry 2 safety, possible electric shock for improperly insulated wiring. See, this is your water line. Comes down, comes into here. It comes down to here. It goes off for the other sink and then goes over and stops. There is no fresh water provided. There's no fresh water providing to this machine. Only salt water. So when you're turning it to the freshwater mode, it doesn't get any water import. That's exactly what's going on. When you're import, you're not getting any fresh water in other than the sprayer that's up top. But you see this valve here? This is your saltwater valve, so when you're at sea mode, salt water's flowing down through here up into this pipe and into your garbage grinder. So when they installed this, they only plumbed it with salt water.
At sea.
At sea. You don't have another SOPV in this system that operates.
So this thing that motor could seize up on you without no water.
Oh yeah, it definitely would seize up in port because the only thing you're using is a sprayer. Here's where your fresh water should come from. It's capped off. It doesn't go anywhere.
For some reason, this can't.
You've got to pull the alignment and the manual for the garbage grinder. This control panel operates your solenoid operated valve which turns the salt water on or off depending whether you're at sea or at import mode. And right now, when you're at sea mode, this saltwater valve is opening. So somewhere in your galley, you're going to have a freshwater valve that's going to open up when you're in port. That water is going to flow through the garbage grinder, and that's what's going to give you your lubricant between the motor. This is the damper control switch. It opens and closes the damper inside the ventilation hood. And later on, we're going to walk around to the other side of the galley. You're going to see that open where you can see the actual switch. And nozzles are. And then later on, we're going to take a look at a thermostatic failsafe switch, commonly known as a Detroit switch. Okay, so as you operate the grease interceptor hood, grease, vapors, and fumes and dust particles come up through a series of baffles. These spray head nozzles are designed to clean that system out so that excessive dust and debris do not accumulate and cause a possible fire hazard in the system. You can see these nozzles have a spray pattern, and you're supposed to be clear of dirt and debris. There's another set of nozzles also underneath where you can't see down below this hood that are always overlooked. Most folks clean the ones on the top and miss the ones on the bottom. This is the plunger, the unit that resets the damper. You couldn't see it in the oven, but here it's on top of the griddle so you can see it. What I want to show you is this is connected to your fan motor. And those fan motors run up inside the galley at 440 volts. Okay? So you've got a lot of amperage running through that wire. Not all systems are configured equally. Sometimes that's 110, sometimes that's 440. It just depends on how your system's configured. Now this here is a thermostatic failsafe switch. The electricians are going to do this test. It's a thermostatic failsafe switch test. Do not open this box unless you're a trained electrician and you've followed the procedures in the PMS card. We're going to check right off the bat for two things. One, that it's sealed, and two, that it has a calibration sticker on the side. It's an annual requirement to be calibrated. Here's your standard oven bank. What we're going to be looking for is underneath to make sure no wires are touching the deck. We'll take a look down here. That's a significant safety discrepancy. These ovens are powered by 440 volts, and you've got exposure on the deck-mounted electrical power to this oven bank. Significant Pry 1 safety. You would shut down this oven bank that's powered from that junction. Other discrepancies we find are the doors do not stay open when locked in the open position. They're not supposed to swing easily so the operator doesn't get burned by the door. Additionally, you've got bars, and this one is missing a bar that protects the operator from the fan. Now, realistically, is the operator going to put his hand all the way through the oven into the fan? No. But what could happen is a pan could hit the fan and break the fan. So, protects the personnel and also protects the equipment. And does the fan stop when the oven's open? And here it did. Now this is bent. This handle's damaged. It's missing a bolt. This is missing a handle. So you need a hot pan to open that, because that's about 350 degrees. This is also missing a handle. And right now, we're going to have to shut this oven bank down because it's unsafe. You've got water on the deck right now, and later on in the evening, there's going to be more water on the deck when they clean for the night. In your galley, you have a stainless steel crest or crest overhead, and each vent cover is supposed to have louvers. These louvers are missing. And what is in the vent is dirty. So that dust and particles are going to get into your food. You should have a louvered cover like this one over here. So this is a steam table in a Navy galley. Some of the easy things that you can look at when you're doing your inspection is they're missing strainers. Each one of these steam tables should have a strainer like this one right here. And what that prevents is food, particles, and contaminants from going down into your drain lines and clogging your drain lines. Additionally, and more importantly, is your thermostats. These thermostats should not be able to have any exposed wiring. Now this one right here is loose, and as you can see, the screws are missing. The only thing that's holding it in is the friction between the screw and the hole. Behind here is exposed wiring. And that would be a Pry 1 safety if you had this where someone could bump it, grab it with their shirt, pull this thermostat off. If you look underneath, you should also have a box similar to the back of the refrigerator that we saw before. The refrigerator had an enclosed cover around all the electrical wires behind the unit. If you look underneath this one, you'll see it's exposed. You've got improperly insulated wiring, loose conduit, and exposed wiring. So all that conduit should be covered up, or at least have a watertight connection between what it's next to. Now this is exposed wiring. You're in a galley with a lot of water, and water and electricity is not a good thing. These kettles are steam. Not as many issues with the steam kettles as we do with the electric steam kettles. Because the electric steam kettles, you got the electrical heating element underneath it. A lot of times you're missing the covers to the control panels. Important piece of equipment for your mixer is your safety cover. And that when you turn this open, the mixer stops. Basic safety. Make sure no knockouts are exposed. Complete watertight integrity on the electrical box. This is the top of a Navy refrigerator unit, which has a light cover over the light bulb. The light is in on, but the light cover is in place. Typically, we do not see light covers on there, which is a safety hazard. It's a Pry 2 safety. Inspect for gaskets, shelving. Here's your internal thermostat, your external thermostat. Make sure they match. 32 to 41 degrees. You got it written on the outside on the operating instructions. Now this is a really easy fix. There's a light bulb missing and the cover to the light bulb missing. This is inside a refrigerating unit, which you're going to have moisture and condensation building up with exposed terminals to where the light goes. We commonly find light bulbs missing, light covers missing. Now this is a fan coil unit compressor. As you can see, the maintenance hasn't been done. It's covered with thick dust and dirt particles, which will eventually overheat the compressor and fail the unit. Okay, here's what a lot of folks live with in the galleys. You've got a leak. Obviously, there's a pan underneath it. You've got an electrical motor, and you've got water leaking down through and around the electrical motor. In fact, there's water hanging off the junction box underneath the motor. That's an unsafe condition for the operator. You got a garden hose going up to the sink because it's obviously a workaround for whatever problem we're having in the galley. This is your 3-tub sink. So you've got your wash, your rinse, and your final rinse. Now, what we look at is underneath the final rinse is a booster heater. A lot of times those booster heaters rust. Again, you're going to have possible exposed wires, possible improperly insulated wiring, possible water intrusion from the electricity.